they've been very unnerved that they last week they sort of ordered local telecom providers to close off access to Facebook and Twitter, which were the main means, particularly Facebook, by which the opposition and the civil disobedience movement was being organized. People just sort of accessed social media in other ways. Last weekend, they actually closed down the internet. You know, can you imagine that in this day and age? But that isn't a tenable situation because, you know, the whole country, the banks, the finance, the government relies on the internet. So the protests have continued. What we're hearing now is that they've circulated to telecoms companies a draft law of a new cyber restrictions that will impose very strict surveillance or Chinese-style surveillance on the population, and that if there's any messages that are deemed to be destabilizing or undermining national security, people could face crimes for that. And there's talk that Chinese IT experts have actually been brought into the country in recent days on special flights to actually help advise the government on how they will implement this. Now, you know, the Burmese military is going to need its friends where it can find them. If that's sort of IT experts from China or it's arms deals from Russia, they'll take it because, as you mentioned, Joe Biden has announced new sanctions on the country, and some individual big foreign investors that had joint ventures with the military are pulling out. So we're likely to see the armed forces hunker down. They will use whatever means they can, be it arresting officials or internet crackdowns, to try and crush this opposition movement. But there's no sign the protesters are going away, and internationally they're going to face a lot of trouble if if tougher sanctions are imposed, not only by the US but by the EU and other groups.